Cue the music.
Oh, wrong.
That's copywritten. We can't do that. Can't use
sorry.
that. Oh boy. And Corner to Corner is live in 5, 4, 52 go. What's going on, everybody, and welcome. Welcome back to Corner Wrestling Radio, C2C RadioShow.com. We're live. We're on the air right now. It's myself, Stan Grubb, my tag team partner tonight, Brian Taylor. What's up, Brian? Welcome back, man.
Thank you.
Brian, fresh from the beautiful state of Tennessee.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it.
What kind of awesome stuff did you find in Tennessee, man?
Oh yeah, that's not for the masses, man. That's my personal. They don't deserve, the masses don't deserve anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
my dog disagrees.
Well, yeah, but I'll tell your dog later. But I'm not telling the common folk.
It's okay, Bill. He'll tell you later. He promises.
Yeah, promise.
Not bite the remote, doofus.
No, I mean, we did, Dollywood and Gatlinburg and
very nice.
Some stuff in Sevierville and Pigeon Forge and the aquarium and mountain coasters and a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, now the big question, and this is what's on everybody's mind: did you make the trek to Buc-ee's?
No, we did not make the trek to Buc-ee's.
You didn't get to Buc-ee's?
No, because I kind of made some. I did some wheeling and dealing.
And,
did some wheeling and dealing with the missus, and we did not make Buc-ee's.
Okay. So you had a backup plan, so to speak.
No. It's just something else came along, and so I wheeled and dealed and got what I wanted, and the wife didn't have to drive 3 hours to Buc-ee's.
Okay. So. Well, that's probably a good thing. That would have been a very annoying drive. Might have been fun, though, but still would have been an annoying drive.
Well, I mean, it would have only been 2 and then another hour to Nashville. So we would have, it's not like we were just going for that. We would have gone to Nashville.
So, as a lot of folks know, and of course we got tons of wrestling to talk about. Last week, of course, folks got an abbreviated episode. It was just me. And it's a little difficult carry a 2-hour show by yourself with no breaks, no nothing. So, last week was abbreviated. This week, got Brian here. Rob's on vacation now, so hope you're enjoying Nag's Head, Rob. But before we dive into wrestling, I was telling you a little bit about it before we went on the air tonight. Diablo 4 just dropped by Blizzard, and everybody's playing it. You name it. People are streaming it. It's on Twitch. It's on YouTube. My brother TJ's streaming it. You can get to him through twitch.tv/thebootysnacks. Don't ask me why he chose that name. I do not know.
Well, I just want to know if your mom knows. Like, is your mom proud of his Twitch name?
So I know she's seen the link, and I know that she's seen him advertise it like on Facebook and stuff. I will ask her what she thinks about the name, because I never really took the time. But yeah, it's something that we've talked about many times leading up to its release. I played the beta. Brian played the beta a little bit, and it's everywhere. So I'm not going to be seeing it probably until about the end of this month, and I'm fiending for it. I'm a big Diablo fan, right? So without naming locations and stuff, I went looking for Diablo 4. I said, it's got to be out there, because you know how it is. It's always out there. And sure enough, I found one. I was like, cool. So I'm pretty psyched. Now, it was a long download. Brian, you remember the beta was like 80 gigs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you. It was just as big. It was a huge download. So that actually made me think maybe it was okay, because, I'm like, well, it's got to be the full download then. It's got to be the full game. Very cool. I get it loaded up. Everything checks out. I scanned all the antivirus stuff and everything. No problems. I'm like, okay, cool. Now it has an alternate launcher, and it's not on Blizzard. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way this works. I don't understand this, but sure, why not? We'll try it. Well, it loads up, and it plays first few levels just fine. Videos look great. The picture quality is awesome. I'm like, man, this is really cool. And I'm thinking I'm going to come on tonight, and I'm like, I can't wait to tell them about it and how I found it, right? Well, once you get your character to about level 3 is when you really start digging in to the surrounding areas, right? I leveled up to about level 3, and I'm in Act 1, and I'm exploring, and I start to notice that when I click the button to attack, it's maybe a millisecond behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's not too bad. Maybe this is just a glitch. Fine, okay. So I plug the controller in, and that kind of actually fixes the issue. I'm like, cool, all right. So I go through, and there's a couple things you can do in Diablo 4 that you couldn't do in the others. One of which is you can jump or you can climb. So I get to an area one of the first areas where you can climb, and I hit the appropriate button, and my character, he climbs, but I go from in front of the area to climb to somewhere within the mountain that I was climbing. So all I can see is just the mountain. There's no heads-up display. There's no press this button to do this or that. And you hear the music. You can hear things happening around you, but that's it. You can't see anything. I'm like, okay. And I keep fiddling with it, and finally I get out. I don't know how I did it, but I get out of where I was stuck. So, okay, I'm like, all right, well, it's another glitch. All right, fine. Keep going. You get to the first town, and the first town where you have to interact with the blood petals.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a highlighted icon there that says interact. You press the right button, and that's where it would normally trigger a cutscene. Nope. It will not let me interact with it at all. I keep clicking on it, and it acts like it's going to do something, and it doesn't do anything. Go explore around a little bit, come back, because I figure maybe something has to trigger the quest or something. Sure enough, it actually does. I get back there, it works. And then I notice during cutscenes, the icon to interact with it is still popped up. This is different. All right. So the last thing before I finally ditched it, and yes, I did finally uninstall it because obviously it wasn't going to work. I get to a dungeon, and I'm exploring, and I'm out. Get down from there. And I'm trying to get everything squared away, and I'm attacking different things, and all of a sudden, I see this little icon, and it's a round, almost like a street sign, arrow. And it's like it's telling me which direction to go. And it's clickable. So I'm clicking on it, and finally, I click on it, I don't know, 50 times. And the next thing I know, there's a bunch of those arrows all over my screen. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Did I kill my computer? What did I do? Needless to say, I was able to escape out of the game, and then I deleted it.
So, for anybody, any federales listening, this was a dream sequence and not actual events. And 2, that's what you get, you fool. Like, you ought to be lucky that they don't have your credit card account by now.
Well, it's a good thing I don't have my card linked to literally anything.
Every time you probably hit that button,
yeah,
for your little arrows that look like street signs that obviously are not part of Diablo. Something. Yeah. You probably sent like some Amazon gift to a third world country or something. Like there's some dude sitting in some dark, dank, house back in the room, and you probably just like made his Christmas. You sent him
Someone's OnlyFans got a bunch of gifts or something. Somebody's wish list just got popped. I don't know. Yep. In my haste to get something going, and I'm not ashamed to say that hey, I tried it, I failed, won't do it again, ever.
Listen, it never happened. It's a dream sequence, right?
It's a fever dream.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Wasn't feeling well. Next thing you know, woke up and
Had too much alcohol. Yeah. For anybody any feds listening, it didn't happen.
I will say this, in the off chance that, whoever it is figures it out, it must take an awful lot of time to do what was done. I mean, that much is safe to say was impressive. Outside of that, so
I don't know. I mean, think about it. If let's say somebody, say Blizzard did it, right? Well, let's see how many people we can track, that pirate the game, and then they would have just written the code as as the actual game was being written.
Oh man, that'd be funny actually. Log into your Battle.net account the next day after you finally get the registered software, and the next thing you know, hey,
damn, yeah.
What happened?
We know you tried some pirated shit.
You are fired.
No more Diablo for Stan. What in the world?
That is my cell phone. I was starting to wonder if the audio worked on that.
I see. Oh, my Lord.
So,
Blight is bad.
How far have you gotten, without doing any spoilers, of course, how far have you gotten?
Oh, I'll spoil whatever you want. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, again, so it came out, Thursday before I went on vacation, and so I didn't really get to play it with a couple of days, and I think I'd gotten a hardcore character up to like 38, and then there was a lag spike, and ultimately that lag spike is what caused my hardcore character to go to the lands beyond.
Now, the hardcore mode, hardcore and above, if you die, your character's kaput.
That's right. Kaput. Yep. And, again, the Blizzard has this little thing going right now that the first 1,000 hardcore characters will be immortalized forever on the statue of Lilith at their headquarters, I think. So, before I died, oh man, I thought my chances were pretty good. Not a lot of people play hardcore, because it's a different beast entirely. Because you really got to focus on what you're doing. So again, I'm climbing, I'm wrecking things, I'm doing all right. I got my characters going good. Man, I might be able to pull this off, right? At least get to like 50 before I have to leave. And then when I come back, I just, really get after it and, maybe pull this off. Because again, even with me putting it down for a week, odds would still be pretty good. Because I think Diablo 3, there were only a handful of characters that actually made hardcore, the highest level in hardcore under the old one. So I was like, I might be able to pull this one off. No, 38, lag spike. I get one-shotted. Now, for those of you that don't understand, if you make 38, you should be well aware of how the game mechanics work, and you shouldn't get close enough to any monsters where you can get one-shotted, unless there's a lag spike, or the game freezes on you and there's apparently there's all types of things that have gone on this past week for hardcore characters. 40, 50s. Oh, next thing you know, I tried to teleport and the game locked up on me. Well, guess what happens when you log back in? Your guy's dead.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, it's crazy. It really is. But it's Diablo. If you're not playing it, you should be.
Yeah, that would frustrate me.
Oh yeah, I'd have been pissed. I mean, I've heard where like people have, had their accounts wiped for no reason supposedly, and they just log in one day and they got nothing. So,
well, PS5 players have been really vocal on Twitter and also on Reddit because apparently there was a bug before the most recent patch came out that said that their version of Diablo 4 was not an actual approved version or was not actually a authorized purchase kind of thing. So they weren't even able to get into the game.
That's funny as crap.
So I might have actually benefited by waiting because there were people that paid all this money because the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition is $100.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that's a bunch of mounts and a bunch of transmorgs and all this other stuff. So if you paid that and couldn't get in, especially on these Twitch drops for the first week, I imagine people were hot.
Yeah, but I mean, with Twitch drops, all you have to do is link your accounts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And wait, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, just link your Twitch account. You don't actually have to be playing your game to benefit from Twitch drops. Because I didn't play at all, again, when I left last Sunday. And I'm pretty sure. Well, I got to start this week's Twitch drops, but I mean, I got all the Twitch drops last week. I'm glad you said something, or I would have forgotten about them. So yeah, and then when I loaded into the thing, I could see the drops. So, and that's without playing for a week.
Well, I'll definitely have to make sure I load it up as soon as I can because once everything finishes, I can't wait to really get started. I was bummed to find out that the character you use from the beta doesn't carry over. That sucks. Not that I did a whole lot of impressive stuff, but
Yeah, why should it? I mean, what do you just want everything?
Yes.
God, man, just create a new one.
It's
not that hard. Like literally, it's not that hard. So
channeling my inner Veruca.
I got back Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I got back Sunday, 4:00, whatever, logged in. I think my character was 12, and this character's not hardcore. I'm still recovering from the last one. You're not getting me again. Anyway, so it was level 12, and I'm already at 30, and that's with only dumping so many hours into it. So it's not that hard, especially if you've played Diablo and understand the mechanics of the game. Because as well as I do, there's a lot that kind of goes into playing Diablo, especially at higher ranks, and you got to figure out your armor and if your armor is going to help any of your skills and what skills you want. Because this one, I don't know about it. I've been playing Necromancer, and there's like 4 different builds for Necromancer or something. So I would imagine it's kind of like that for the rest of them. So you got to figure out your builds and all that stuff, but it's no different. If you played one Diablo, you pretty much played them all. So it's the same thing. It wouldn't take you long. Come on, you'd be like, oh, I'm level 50. Yay.
I'll probably have to do the easiest setting first.
No.
Do as much of the playthrough as I can, and then go through and move myself up the ladder.
No, you would start tier 2. Tier 2 is, so it's not quite like in the past, right? Because in 3, you had like, an easy, kind of easy, a medium, kind of medium.
Yeah, you had like a lot of
kind of hard. Yeah, and then once you got to a certain level, you jumped into world tiers, right? Well, this one's a little bit different in that. And when you start, you have tier 1, tier 2. So those are your world tiers. And once you hit level 50, I think you have to have completed the campaign and hit level 50. That unlocks tier 3, which you then have to move into tier 3 to level up. And then I think at 75 or something, you then have the ability to unlock 4. And then at 75 to 100, you have to move into 4. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe the XP isn't worth it to, stay in a much lower tier, when you get to a certain point. But I know you can't unlock 3 until, like, I think, again, you have to actually complete the game and hit level 50.
So really you need to make sure that not only are you putting your weapons and armor and everything in the proper spots, but you really got to make sure you're on the right tier to get the proper experience level then.
Well, no, because, level tier gives you a bonus to your XP and all that. The drop rates are supposed to be a little bit different. But you can do it at 1. You can do it just as fast on 1 as you can 2. Because on 1, you can kill, your XP won't be as high, but you can kill more mobs faster. For those that don't know, mobs are monsters. Right? So you can kill more at a faster rate in tier 1, depending on your build. But if in tier 2, if your build is good, then you're doing it, half the time. So it doesn't really. I didn't really see much of a difference in the world tiers. Well, tier 1 and 2. I haven't done 3 yet. So 3 is when you get into like different dungeons and nightmare dungeons and all types of other things that you gotta do to level up and stuff.
Okay.
So, but your brother would know more about that than I would. So.
Yeah, if there's a if there is a secret or a key that you want to find out when it comes to all of those different levels and how to get through it and how to navigate it, you got to make sure that you're following up on all the different moving parts, and TJ is a good resource to use. Although, you're no slouch, sir.
Yeah, but Diablo is a type that there's a lot that goes into Diablo, and I can do like some general type stuff. But when you start talking about, well, this skill, you need to have this armor or this skill to proc this skill and all the some of the language. Yeah, no, I get lost. So I find me a build, and I work that build, and then I find the armor that looks like it's supposed to belong to that build, and that's all I do. Again, the people that are really good, they know what button, what skill to use to set up the next skill, to set up the third skill, only to rotate back to the first skill before the fourth skill. No, I just get in there and mash buttons, and if I live, I live.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, if he dies, he dies. So, because again, there's that's the thing about Diablo. It's so people don't. If you never played Diablo, you don't understand just how complicated it can be, and especially in a higher world tier, where the monsters get buffs and your character gets nerfed. It's like, yeah, you can't jump into like a world tier 5 if your gear is only really good in the world tier 1. You're not going to last long, and then you're going to be wondering, well, why did I die?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's going to, until somebody explains it to you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's fun. So I'm working on a necro build now that is very fun, easy, and
What was the one that had
kind of casual
turrets and everything? Was that the Necro, or was that like the Hunter or Bounty Hunter or whatever? Demon Hunter.
Turrets. You talking about in the last one?
Yeah, it had. You could use crossbows and.
So I don't really recall because. So when I was playing 3, I had what you call it, the old crossbows you were just talking about. I had used I had a build for him, and I had a summoner build. I didn't really fool with anything else. But the crossbow, the Demon Hunter, I had a nice little set of crossbows, and it was kind of under what I needed, but because it didn't really drain anything, it was almost like it was like a full auto, unlimited ammo type thing, and I would just sit there and just unload on everybody. So same thing with the sorcerer.
Yeah, like the rapid fire one was hilarious because you could literally just chomp off anybody. It didn't matter how big the bad guy was. You could do whatever you wanted, really.
Yeah, well, the sorcerer I had was more of a glass cannon, but again, they didn't drain mana all that fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just like keep hitting one skill and just like letting it eat until I just wiped everything out, and then moved on from there.
Wow. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to keep playing my way through, get myself ready.
Listen, leave the bunk ass fucking fake Diablo alone before next thing you know, you get a knock at the door. I'm not bailing you out on Fed charges.
I can't help it, man. I was fiending.
Yeah.
But alas, it wasn't to be. The gods, the powers that be, were laughing at me. They were like, "Yeah, no, sir, no, this is not going to work. See that bad guy you're going for? No, you're going to end up in the nope. You're going to go into this mountain right here, or the street sign in the middle of the." In the middle of the damn area. That was the funniest part. Like, at first I'm like, all right, so if it's got a little bit of a delay, I'm cool with that. I would have been able to manage at least for a few levels, right? But once you get into like a thick mob of like 20 bad guys on the screen, you don't really have that.
Right. No. No, because even on easy, this game can be, well, not easy, but regular core. It can be, ruthless.
Well, Brian, as we head a little bit closer to the end of this month, we've got a few pieces that we're going to be discovering. One is AEW Collision, where the main event was announced this past week. Another is Fight Forever, coming out at the end of this month. And then we are only moments away after that from Money in the Bank in London. And then we've got All In 2. And let's not forget Forbidden Door, which, holy shit, this card. I mean, we've got 2 matches confirmed. There's a rumored third match that, if it's confirmed, will just... hardcore fans will love it. I mean, we've got a lot to really go over. Oh, by the way, WWE has introduced yet more new belts. And yes, Brian, they look just as bad as advertised.
All right, so God, I don't know what I want to jump on first. Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's talk about that first. Hey, how about fucking Dynamite in DC, baby?
Yeah. How can I forget that? Back where it all began.
Yeah, and
you lucked out, bro. You get to go.
Yeah, for free.
That's sweet.
How about that?
That is really cool.
So, so I'm going to be laughing at you as I'm sitting in the stands. I've seen the seats.
Yeah, are they good seats?
They're good seats. So, remember when the last time me and you, Rob, went to that other arena? I don't even remember what it's called.
I think it was like the Armory Arena or whatever. It was a relatively new one, though.
Yeah. So, you know where those seats were kind of over there? Where we were like on one side of the ring, kind of up, not quite all the way up, but you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of the view.
Okay.
But again, it is the Verizon Center.
Well, and that's usually
so it's going to be
really
a little bit more.
There.
Yeah. It's not quite as good as, well, maybe it is the Starrcade tickets.
Okay, so around that same level then.
Yeah, around
this.
Same location. Maybe a little bit more forward or a little bit higher, I guess. So I have to check. I didn't even look at that. I just looked at a picture. Maybe we'll get lucky and it will be.
Well, you guys get both Dynamite and Rampage. You get a Rampage taping there, too.
Yeah, so this will be my first Rampage.
Very cool.
So, yep. Going with one guy that went to a WWE show years ago. Not really a wrestling fan, but I was like, fuck it, dude. If you can score the tickets, you got to go because your name's on the tickets. So, and then
that's cool.
Yeah, because again, so it's there's a group that does tickets for like military and law enforcement, and, first responders, and you can I don't really know how to explain it, but like you can earn points and then you can apply your points in trying to get tickets to different events. And he called me, he was like, hey, what's this wrestling in DC? And I'm like, why, are you getting tickets? He said, well, I don't know. I said, well, go and try and get tickets. And, if you get tickets, you, me, and another guy from work, we'll go hang out and do it. So,
well, you got a hell of a card you're getting ready to go see.
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention. I know I've seen some of the matches, but
do you want to know?
Sure, run it down.
Here's the
I don't know if they've announced any Rampage, have they?
I know people complain that Dynamite is structured like a pay-per-view with their matches most times. But that's one of the things I love about it, and this week's Dynamite is no exception. The Mogul Embassy, Swerve Strickland, the Great Okan, and why can't I remember his name? And Brian Cage, that group.
It's not the Great Okan, you moron.
What is it? Damn it. I hate that I can't remember that because they are an awesome tag team. The Gods of... damn it. Gods of Chaos? Why can't I remember?
I'm gonna let you figure it out.
My brain
This
is such
fun.
Swiss cheese right now. That sucks. Let me.
Yeah, for once, it's somebody else and not me.
Oh my
Normally, it's
God,
me
I'm
being like,
so
I can't
embarrassed
remember
right
that.
now. All right, I'm pulling up the roster now. I'm not gonna let this go until I list these guys. All right, so you've got Toa Leona. See, I knew it was a Toa. I just didn't want to botch the name completely.
Yeah,
Khan.
but you did botch it because you called him the Great.
Great Khan. So,
meanwhile,
Khan.
somebody in New Japan Pro Wrestling's like, "You're going to be in DC?"
Yes, he will. By God. Okay, so Khan, Toa Leona, Brian Cage, and Swerve Strickland. There we go. See, I got all four. Woo! Finally. And in their corner, of course, is Prince Nana. And they're taking on Orange Cassidy, Keith Lee, Darby Allin, and Sting in an 8-man tag. For the TNT Championship, Jake Hager challenges Wardlow. In a trios match, the Blackpool Combat Club, Mox, Yuta, and Claudio, are taking on the Hung Bucks. That's right, Adam Page and the Young Bucks. The AEW Women's Championship is on the line as Sky Blue, who just won a four-way last Friday to become the number one contender, is challenging Toni Storm. And in a world title eliminator match, Adam Cole takes on MJF. If Adam Cole wins, he gets a title shot at MJF. You don't get much more stacked than that.
That's not bad at all. I'm down with that so far.
I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extremely solid matches. Plus, you're probably going to see Jericho. You're going to be singing Judas. You know you will. Now,
Yeah, I always sing Judas.
What he's doing on this episode, I don't know, because that feud, I guess, is supposed to be over between him and Cole.
Who, Jericho?
Yeah.
Oh, now you don't ruin it. So you think Jericho? No, I don't think Jericho's going to get involved. Do you?
Hobbs and Nyla Rose are also advertised to be in attendance. Hook is supposed to be there. I mean, you get a pretty good amount. Oh, Ricky Starks and Britt Baker are also scheduled to be there. And we should find out who Kenny Omega was visiting, as he was not in Canada 2 weeks ago, but he was out of the country.
Yeah, it's probably Okada.
The going rumors is either Okada or, of course, the other half of the Golden Lovers, Kota Ibushi.
I mean, that would be like off the hook too. But to me, the fact that Okada is, now going to face Danielson, to me, it would only makes sense that the push for Forbidden Door starts, probably this week.
So you're on tap to see some pretty amazing action, dude. I'm not gonna lie, I'm jealous. You're gonna have a blast. You better take some awesome pictures, and you gotta let me know if there's any autographed figures there. I won't be able to act on them, of course, but you gotta at least let me know if you see any.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll let you know. So not say I'll walk away with any, but I have been known.
They price them a bit high, but like the ones that we saw, what was the one we went to, like that newer arena, they had the Lucha Brothers signed. Didn't they have an MJF signed?
I think so. Yeah, but I mean, $100 to me is not that bad because again, you're getting the figure also.
Right.
It's when it's just a stock photo and you're trying to get $80 out of it, or like a title that's not even your title, and you're trying to get $80 out of it, and yeah, that's a little steep, man. Just but I wouldn't. I would not, or not. Let me rephrase this. I would have not. Oh my God, there it is. I wouldn't have a problem doing $100 on an autograph figure if it was one I wanted.
Now, I want to stay on AEW for a bit here because I got to ask you, the back and forth between Adam Cole and MJF. What did you think about that from Dynamite this past week?
Oh man, so listen, and I know that I was having troubles up
yeah, I tried everything I could to help you out.
Yeah, well, no, you were a blast because I actually managed to watch the last hour of it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was right about, I think I came in right about that segment.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really see anything before. That segment was kind of wonky as far as in and out. So I did not get to see a lot. So, I mean, do I think he's going to win the title? No.
Ooh, okay.
Adam Cole. I don't think Adam Cole's going to win that title. I think it'll stay around MJF a little bit longer. So
it's tough to peg because MJF, I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job, and he brags about it, but he's telling the truth. Best Fatal 4-Way they've had yet. One of the best Iron Man matches I've ever seen. I mean, he's not wrong. And how do you make that ultimate decision of, yeah, we're going to have the title taken off of him, It's kind of like Omega. Each time you thought, man, he might be the guy, you knew it wasn't because you were building towards something else. And yeah, you thought maybe it was going to be Adam Page, but there wasn't anything concrete until we finally got more confirmation of the build. And even that could have gone any direction.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's coming off of him. Yeah. Honestly. And that's not to say he may not be the right guy, but I think MJF is just a little too hot right now, and that would to me, that would be foolish.
Orange Cassidy continues his most consistent delivery as one of the top guys on the show. Every single week, including his title defense against Swerve Strickland. I mean, has just been really top-notch. And there's a lot of people that are saying that he's kind of the go-to for Tony Khan when he needs a solid match, when he needs something that's going to deliver regardless of where he puts him on the card. He goes to Orange Cassidy.
I've said it. We've talked. I think Orange is a well-rounded individual, but I think Orange needs to quit fooling with some of this comedy act and show the world what he can do.
Now the question is, who's going to be the guy that takes the title off of him? He's already got more title defenses than Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ, I think who did I see? There was a female I saw that had more title defenses.
Camille, NWA Women's Champion.
Yeah, I mean, title defenses. It is what it is. That's how the WWE wants to run their champ. They run their champ. But Orange is easy. Orange is way too easy to get that title off of.
I thought honestly that it was going to be Swerve. I really felt like they might pull the trigger with that.
Mm.
It still could be. We might not have seen the last of that feud.
Well, something tells me that there is probably going to be somebody with some international ties, some true international ties, especially if they're, moving into Canada and, Europe and all that stuff. I mean, it really only makes sense to put it on an international guy when you're doing international shows. who is NJ White? Who did he wrestle last week? Oh, Ricky Starks. Didn't he hooked up? Doesn't he have a match coming up or something? Did I see that right? Where they were talking about Orange Cassidy or something.
So Starks is kind of embroiled in this feud with Jay White and Juice Robinson. And this past week anyway, with Starks, we had him and Jay White in what I thought was a really good match. But we get the run-in by the rumored newest parts of Bullet Club Gold from from the Ass Boys. It's a possibility they could be in Bullet Club Gold, or as Jay White calls them, the Bang Bang Gang. I mean, in name, it kind of works, but what do you think? Are the Gun Club, the Guns, are they up to that task?
Well, I mean, again, all you're trying to do is get them exposure.
Yeah.
And what better way to get them exposure than, Bullet Club?
Well, and who better to learn from, frankly, than two very experienced, seasoned professionals that have been all over the world. I mean, the Guns are still pretty young. When you really think about it, they still have a lot to accomplish in their careers. They got plenty of time, but it's a good way for them to really come into their own. I mean, you could be looking at a tag team similar to the Outlaws. Not to draw on the obvious parallel, but that's who they kind of remind me of, is what they're attempting, at least right now.
I think over the course of time, they'll probably be your biggest heel tag team because they're just so darn likable as bad guys. I guess if you want to call it that. So anything you can do now to prepare for that down the road is probably smart.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of opportunity with them because they're so young, and as long as they can, knock on wood, avoid injury, they really do have a lot of opportunity ahead of them.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be another homegrown tag team. Because again, you'd love to hate them. They're just such jerks. Maybe not real, you know what I'm saying? Just like, I don't want to think, oh my God, this guy's calling them jerks.
Well, everything I see with them, like interacting in like those vlogs with like Sammy and Danhausen, especially Danhausen, they seem like pretty easygoing guys. Like they seem like they're pretty cool and confident and comfortable doing whatever it is, whether it's wrestling in tag teams or being in the comedy bits with the Acclaimed, or being more serious like with what they did with FTR. I mean, they have a pretty good wide range.
Yeah, I mean, they grew up in the business.
Yeah, with a bunch of Billy Gunn figures. Let's see here. Pull this back up. So Collision is Saturday. You got Rampage and Dynamite, but Saturday at the United Center, and we got the main event confirmed. It's Bullet Club Gold and Samoa Joe.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's not Orange Cassidy. Maybe that's why I was thinking of Jay White.
So we've got Bullet Club Gold and Samoa Joe, and they're taking on CM Punk and FTR. So Punk's not only coming back at Collision, but in the main event. I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see CM Punk come back. Here's to hoping that he doesn't hurt himself again. Because if he can stay healthy and he can see this through, there is so much money to be made, so much potential on the horizon for him and FTR.
Well, in the long run, just remember, it was Ace that bit the guy, right? It wasn't Punk. Ace bit the guy.
Ace bit a guy.
Ace Bit Guy. I really hope one day I can get a T-shirt of that.
I'm pretty confident that you'll see that shirt come to fruition. There will be a shirt.
I don't think so.
If it doesn't happen on AEW's end, someone out there will print a T-shirt that says Ace Bit a Guy. I'm already figuring there's going to be signs in Chicago that say something like that.
So I look at it like this: if it was okay, Pro Wrestling Tees would have already pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
But Pro Wrestling Tees and AEW work closely together, and if they are not pulling it off, yeah, it's not going to happen. It'll be like what is it? Eddie is my favorite wrestler.
Right.
Remember that T-shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we gotta have that T-shirt, and then only one of them was ever made. And,
It was the Chavo shirt.
Yeah, the Chavo one. Yeah. So we all swore we saw it. Oh no, I remember seeing that shirt, only to find out years later. Nope, only had one.
Don't they call that like the Mandela effect or whatever it's called?
Well, I could have sworn like when he was wearing it on TV, like
right.
Nah, because at that time we were going to so many shows, and I could have sworn it was like, no, I've seen that shirt. So, yeah, they got us.
As usual, we were played.
Yep.
Let's see here. Trying to think. Okay, so confirmed for Forbidden Door. We got Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, which, come on. That's going to be badass. Kenny Omega, by the way, all the way through his the feud with the BCC has looked tremendous and has actually shown a different side of Kenny Omega where he's more of a brawler than anything else, and I think that's been very beneficial to him. It shows that different, that more aggressive side that, in Japan, it's just a different kind of style. It's strong style, but it's different than that of like a hardcore style. So it is pretty cool to see him move into that role. We only saw like snippets of it with him and Mox in the past. So that's pretty cool. So I'm curious as to how the match with him and Ospreay will play out.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, are we going to see like the New Japan style of that, or are we going to see more of what we've seen with AEW, or is it going to be kind of a mix? Is he going to intermingle his, I guess you could say, newly found hardcore style? Like what? I don't know what kind of match to expect out of it, except that it's going to be awesome.
I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to respond to that.
I mean, it's tough because realistically speaking, he really has branched out.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you would think he would be any different than Kenny Omega. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why you would think there would be some great change to his style.
Right.
I think you're going to get Kenny Omega. I don't think you're going to get a watered down version. I don't think you're going to get, anything crazy. You're not going to. I don't think you're going to get the BBC version has nothing to do with Ospreay, so you're going to get, you're going to get Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to get anything other than Kenny Omega.
Well, I'm inclined to agree there. I think it's just one of those questions that, because we've seen so many different sides, is really what I'm wondering. Maybe it's more along the lines of, instead of the Kenny Omega that we see, it's just more along the lines of, I wonder what kind of match it'll be. Not stipulation wise, just I wonder what style they're going to go at it from. So, even though I think I'm restating the same thing I just said, what I'm really meaning is that not a change of Kenny Omega, but more of just I wonder what style the match will actually be.
Well, yeah, but again though, I mean, like, what? Why would you think they would change styles? You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, you're gonna get Kenny Omega.
Right.
You're not gonna get like this isn't like Matt Hardy,
That's
where
fair. That's a fair point. Okay. I think I'm tracking now.
you're gonna get Kenny Omega, the best bout machine, whatever um, whatever colorful adjective or metaphor, whatever you want to use. That's what you're gonna get. Because I don't know if you got any other way.
Hmm.
So I think you're maybe reading into it maybe too much. Not if that makes sense. Like you're trying to,
Maybe a little bit of overanalyzation. Yeah.
yeah. Like in your mind, you're trying to, maybe you want to turn it into something it's probably not going to be. It's probably just going to be a straight Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega match.
Now, I am confident that Takeshita will get involved, and ultimately the title will change hands because of Takeshita.
Oh yeah, I think the title's going to change hands myself. So, I mean, you never know. You never know because I mean, pretty sure that U.S. title was put on Kenny Omega for a reason.
Hmm.
So, but I could be wrong. It could be 100% wrong, and they're like, screw it. Let's take the title.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the design of the title change was to make sure that one, you put it on the name, you put it on Kenny Omega so that everybody continues to pay attention to what he's doing while Ospreay is healing up. Because Ospreay was out. That's how he got that title. Was he was out? He was out due to injury, and because of that, he wasn't going to win it back right away. So they kept it on Omega. Because didn't he defend it against somebody in the meantime?
Who, Kenny?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably been defended at least once. I couldn't tell you who though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure it has. But I think Ospreay's gonna. I think he'll win the title back.
Yeah. And as if Forbidden Door's match lineup so far couldn't get any better. And oh, by the way, if you're WWE, yeah, you should be giving yourself a swift kick in the balls, much less a swift kick in the ass, for letting this guy go. We're gonna get Bryan Danielson against Okada in what I'm absolutely positive is going to be probably match of the night and a match of the year candidate.
With them two, this could be like match of the century.
Right. And who knew, by the way, that Bryan Danielson could cut such a promo like he did in his challenge to Okada? I mean, that was pretty damn epic.
The whole it doesn't rain in the desert.
Yeah, like what? Come on. I mean, it's such a key line, and there he is. He's hiking, he's doing all the things that he does, and then he just tells him, there ain't no rain in the effing desert. I was like, oh, that's pretty damn good. You got to just sit there and go, yeah, that is top tier, S tier, as they say, Bryan Danielson. Because
ain't no sunshine when he's gone.
And Okada's not a slouch. I mean, he's able to cut a promo, at least in Japanese. But I mean, when he comes off and responds and he goes, "Let's see who the best in the world really is," it just feels like, yeah, I think he just got beat already. I mean, it's like, damn. So yeah, that match is going to be phenomenal. And the rumored match, the one I was alluding to, the rumored third match is supposedly going to be Kenta against CM Punk. Nothing's confirmed. It's just a rumor, but Kenta and, of course, Punk have had a back and forth for years about the go to sleep, about their finish. I mean, I'm for one, like I said, if, knock on wood, CM Punk can stay healthy, I'm salivating at this match because this could be really, really freaking good. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything I can cross at the moment, because that could be amazing. It could also suck really hard if CM Punk gets hurt again in the middle of the damn match. Or if he gets hurt before.
Jesus Christ, would you just stop?
I'm worried,
like
man.
But you're going to talk this stupid thing into
existence. Yeah. Ah, man. What a time to be a fan, dude. What a time to be a wrestling fan. We got so many different shows getting ready to happen back to back to back. It's kind of nuts.
So, yeah, that's true, but I'm kind of hoping that Phil shows up in DC.
I will be pissed if you're in DC and he shows up. I will text you a bunch of cuss words just because if he shows up in DC and I'm not there.
That's when's Collision? Saturday,
yeah.
Yeah. Your poster child? Don't you think it's time you got your poster child back on TV?
And I mean, to cut a promo to get everything ready, you gotta, right? You gotta lay the groundwork. Can't just be FTR laying the groundwork. To me, that just doesn't seem right. It's got to be like Samoa Joe comes out and starts talking smack, and then the Bullet Club joins him, and then Punk comes out with FTR. Some kind of confrontation to close out the show or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Tony Khan, you have my permission to use that, by the way.
I don't think you need your permission there, Cupcake.
Yeah, much like WCW and WWE, the ideas are stolen at will. And in this situation, in this case specifically, I'd be okay with it.
I'm sure it's probably already, he's already written that book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If there's anything that All Access taught us, from the AEW perspective, is that Tony Khan has a plan. And he's not necessarily worried about it because he's got it all laid out. I mean, how cool was it to see when Sammy Guevara comes to him and goes, "Hey, are you sure we shouldn't have done maybe a something with a singles run because of capitalizing on this?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, let me show you what I got." And he pulls out this huge folder full of different things. I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's booking T&M, but in real life.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. Now some little snot-nosed punk is going to hear you say that and be like, "Oh, my God, they think he's T&M."
Well, I mean, there are worse things to use.
Well, I get that, but
you could be like
that's how
Russo,
some of these people
darts.
think. Oh, my God, corner to corner thinks he's using a computer program. And then, it'll be the whole internet will take it over. The haters.
These are the same people that get mad when you call him by his first name.
It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. So yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I'm going to laugh when it hits because I'm sure it's going to hit. So I'm almost positive it's going to hit, and you can suck it. And
damn.
Yeah.
Just damn.
I mean, no offense, but suck it.
No offense. And remember, I'm saying no offense.
Yeah. He Ted Nut when it happens. Because I'm watching for free.
Damn.
I just hope they do Rampage first. Or part of Rampage anyway. I don't want to be there till 12 o'clock.
Oh, you're in for a long night, sir. Just accept it. It's going to happen. That's how it's going to go down. You're in it for the long haul.
Sorry,
not sorry.
That's all right. Cult of personality. Yeah. Yeah. Suck on that one. I mean, it's got to. You got to start building up to this. You only got a week to go. You know, huge main event. So huge. It's going to be huge.
I mean, you can't just do a video promo either. It's got to be. You got to put something substantial out there.
Yep, you almost got to kind of end the show that way. You know, fight in the back, whatever.
How many tickets have sold for this show? I wonder. WrestleTix. Let's pull it up.
So listen. So I saw again today when we were checking the seats, and it looks like the biggest section is, of course, the hard cam. Everything else looks to be almost sold out.
Okay. Well, that's not bad at all. Let's see here.
Because you can look up Ticketmaster and see what seats they have available. And, of course, you know, that doesn't really mean anything as far as scalpers go, but that's how many seats are fucking sold. And there are not a lot.
Got Hamilton, Ontario for Collision. Only 880. Are you serious? Only 883 tickets have been sold. Whew. That's about a 3,000 seat arena there. Wow, wasn't expecting to see that. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Ticket sales for Dynamite 4,549. It's not too shabby. That's let's see. The current setup is allows for them to have just over 5,000. So, okay. And that was June 9th, and you said that there were still a few seats available, but not a ton.
Yeah. Again, just go to Ticketmaster and look at DC. You know, it'll show you. Act like you're going to buy a ticket, and you can go. You can tell.
Okay.
You can see the seating arrangement.
So there's limited availability. 4 tickets on the floor seats left, and then you got there's the 101, 107. Yeah, so not too bad actually. I'd say that's actually pretty decent.
Yeah. And I don't know, try the other one, the Canada one.
Let's see here. Let's see what we got.
Because, you know, the one thing I've learned about WrestleTix or whatever, it's good for a week or two. And then after that, you got to kind of look. They don't really update it, but so much.
Well, let's look at it for Forbidden Door weekend. Let's take a look at Toronto, June 24th. Okay, so there's floor seats available still, a considerable amount. I mean, we're talking over 100. Almost 200.
For which one?
This is the Collision after Forbidden Door, or before Forbidden Door. So you got 93 floor seats in one section, you got 43 in another, 4, 15, 7, 64. So just over 200 floor seats left. And then you got the upper tier where there's over 100 available in multiple sections. Let's take a look at, what did I say, Hamilton. So let's look at Hamilton, Ontario the following week. So from the chart, you know, the gray on the chart here means inaccessible or unavailable. Floor seats, there's 8 seats left, and then in the upper level sections, there's pretty good amount. So in my opinion, the main seats that you really pay attention to from a TV perspective, they're sold. You got your floor seats, which that's 8 total floor seats. So that really won't impact how it looks on TV. And I don't care what anybody says. It really is about the quality of the show. And all they need to do is just make sure they have a solid debut and follow-up, and they should be okay to start getting more tickets moved. Here is...
All right, so let me ask you this, right?
Go ahead.
So look at WrestleTix and see how many. See, it tells you what the size of the arena, right?
Yeah.
All right, so look at the amount of tickets they're selling, or they're opening up that day, I guess, for that particular show. Because again, some shows may be more, some shows may be less.
Well, like Collision this weekend, they got 8437 total sold so far. Which, what is it,
8,000?
Yeah. So 8,437.
Yeah, but use Ontario, because originally they only showed 800 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So use Ontario, see what they're saying is.
Go up here. Hamilton, Ontario. I just had it. Here we go. Hamilton, Ontario. Current setup is 5,278. Available tickets 1,707. Tickets distributed 3,571.
And that was the place that originally only had 800, you were saying, right?
Yeah, that's so weird, because I'm looking at... He must have updated it, because it shows the little edited symbol. Okay. My mistake. So, Dynamite is what is sold 3,500. Collision is what's only sold 883. But
all right, so what's the setup for Collision? Is it the same number?
Let me pull that back up. So here's Alberta. All right, Collision. There it is.
Because surely they wouldn't be foolish enough to do Dynamite and then Collision in the same city, the same week.
That's what the 29th, and because Collision's taping on the 29th, which is a Thursday. That's weird. So it's taping on a Thursday. Dynamite is in the same arena the day before.
Yeah, see, I would have just done like a, one of those marathon type shows.
Yeah, I think I would too, especially if I'm going to tape that, because that's a 4-hour show. Yeah. And that's just like going to a damn pay-per-view. I'd have rather did that than to separate them out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can see why people are saying what they're saying, but if you look at the image he has here of Ticketmaster versus what I'm looking at now, I mean, he's got, I don't know what time of day this was put. Oh yeah, 8 o'clock. So he's updating it, but I'm on Ticketmaster right now, and there's definitely a difference. He's got it zoomed in slightly, but I can see why he's saying he or she. I'm not sure if it's a he or she, to be honest with you, but I can see why they're saying that there's so many seats available. But from what I'm seeing here, it looks like they're selling, and they're selling quickly. So perhaps it's just a delay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what WrestleTix uses for a way to figure that out. So I just know that, a lot of times, like when that first gets put out, it's not necessarily how it's going to end up. So
why is it, do you think, that now there's so much of a focus on ratings and ticket sales?
There's always been a focus on ratings and ticket sales.
Well, sure, from the business aspect of things, I mean, I get your point, but there's like a higher volume of people, fans, that have no idea what any of this really means, that are focused on, oh my God, they only sold how much, and they only sold or did this. Do you think that in the grand scheme of things, because here's what we know so far, Warner Discovery is extremely happy with them, or else they wouldn't have given them another 2 hours of television. Is this correlating? Is the ratings and the ticket sales something they go, you know what, you're doing good numbers for us, we're happy with 700,000, or whatever the case may be as far as their average is concerned? Like, do you think that there's a correlation, or do you think it's we're still looking at it from an outdated point of view?
So I can't really answer that because that question not quite making sense to me. But I think what you're getting at is why fans are so eager to point out the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the tribalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know as well as I do, there are plenty of fans out there that don't know any different than other than what the WWE tells them.
Right.
And they are so loyal to the cause, they're going to take any and all opportunity to voice an opinion, right? And the problem is a lot of these people claim to be wrestling fans, but they're the same type of people that, you know, the Orange Cassidy picture, right? Remember that one
Mm-hmm.
from a couple weeks ago where what's dipshit's name? The guy on ESPN, or not ESPN, but got his own podcast or whatever. That posted the picture and then was like, or not posted the picture, but was like, oh, this is AEW, and yeah, 3/4 of the arena was empty, and
Oh yeah.
Pat McAfee, that's it, that
Yeah.
little jackass. Yeah, so again, then it didn't take long before a true picture from inside the arena from up in the corner came out, and you could tell, no, that first picture was completely wrong, right? But you have people that are just so ate up with, oh my God, this AEW, and we can't let it in the building. We can't let it get close. We have to try and keep it down, because it's going to affect my WWE product,
Mm-hmm.
or WWE is so much better than AEW or whatever, right? Because as well as I do, and any fan that's ever gone to shows knows, yes, sometimes they restrict the hard cam side.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the way they're filming the thing. Sometimes you have a lot, sometimes you have a little. And it's done for a lot of reasons, right? And any wrestling fan knows that. This argument is not from the wrestling fans, right? It's not from, say, a Jim Cornette.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from a Paul Heyman. It's not from, Vince McMahon or Triple H. You know why you don't ever hear them say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you never hear any of them chime in on how empty an arena is on the hard cam side, people, because they know it's true. The WWE does it, AEW does it, Impact do it if they ever get into an arena that big, which they do from time to time. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they don't talk about it, because they know it's true. That's why you don't really hear them talk about ticket sales, but so much.
Right.
You don't hear them talk about how packed an arena is, but so much. Because it's like you don't really hear them even going into like TV numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ones that know that there are a lot of ways to watch it that aren't getting tracked or aren't getting added up. Warner Brothers told you, and everybody kind of laughed at them. Pretty sure Warner Brothers said something in like the neighborhood of 5 million people.
Right.
Well, Warner Brothers is probably tracking it a different way than what everybody's used to. I'm sure the WWE does it as well. It's tracked different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably track it through streaming services, much like what I did this past week. Hey, let me have you log in for this. And I watched it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch it on TV. I watched it on my phone. I'm sure there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of people catching replays. There's a lot of this. It's pure tribalism. That's all it is. It's one group thinking that their wrestling is better than the next group.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of people that think they know that don't. We talked about it early in the show. You know, people are convinced that they have the inside track, that their news source is right. Like I put a lot of credence into Fightful, right? I usually quote them when we're talking news. And some people will get with Meltzer, the Observer. They'll quote him. Other people will quote Cornette and say that his opinion is gospel, and others will quote, they'll quote Booker T and say that his opinion is right. So yeah, I mean, you're dead on, and I think that it's always somewhere in between as far as the actual truth, the actual heart of the matter.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's why. I mean, you can normally figure people out, though, right? By who who the gospel comes from,
right?
On what kind of fan they are, right? Because at the end of the day, they don't realize that you're getting fed a certain amount of lip service just so they can keep numbers up on their podcast or, whatever. They're going to tell you certain things because they know, well, that's what's going to get my audience in here. That's what's going to keep my audience in here. Because I'm smart enough to know that I have an overwhelming majority of people that, by God, just can't get over the fact that AEW exists. Right? Or New Japan exists, or whoever. I got a lot of people I can be, no. And that's for all of them. Booker T does it. Cornette does it. Meltzer doesn't do it, but, Meltzer's always had that 50-50, crap-shotted, oh, yeah, this is right. I've been told this is right. And then, they go another direction. But he does strike gold from time to time. So for people, he looks like a genius.
Right.
It's just what it is, But at the end of the day, most of them have no clue what wrestling is. They have no clue. I guess they just want to be part of a group. They don't care if it's, what part or what group they belong to. They just want to belong to a group. They want to feel like their voice is heard, Well, it's kind of like the whole thing with Lucha Libre, right?
Yeah.
I'm a wrestling fan. You're a wrestling fan. We have plenty of wrestling fans we talk to. And you can't tell me that any wrestling fan that's ever seen Lucha Libre doesn't know it's not filled with spots. High spots, low spots, your dog spot. Spot fest. Right? That's what Lucha Libre is.
Right. It's a lot more choreographed than that of what we see on, well, I don't know. I'm going to say it, but I don't know if I'm right. That of WWE.
Well, no, it's not just WWE. It's like that's their style.
Right.
Japan has strong style. The UK has a style, and I'm sure there's other styles, and there's an American style, and you know what I'm saying? And then there's South American, which is Lucha Libre, and Latin America, and all that stuff. They're spot fest for the most part. Again, they walk the ropes, they jump off the ropes, they, jump 20 feet in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like they do the monkey rolls and, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not a fan, don't comment on them. Because there are certain styles, so to speak, where wrestling is treated completely different than the way America treats wrestling. Right? I mean, literally, in Japan, they're almost gods. That's a known fact. Been that way forever. In Mexico, down Lucha Libre area, there are people that will not remove their mask if they go out in public.
Right.
Like literally. Oh, I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I have to go pick up my newspaper 100 yards from the house. I'm going to put my mask on. And in my Crocs and my boxer shorts, I'm walking down to pick up my newspaper.
Luchador.
Yeah,
I am a world famous luchador.
But that's what they do. That's how like their mindset. That's how they covet pro wrestling there.
Right.
Right? I forget the one guy's name. I mean, he was an older wrestler, but you never saw him without the mask. He did
Mil Mascaras. Yeah.
No, it wasn't Mil Mascaras. It was somebody else. The name escapes me right now, but
Blue Demon Jr.
Maybe he did like movies and
yeah,
like he never took the mask off. And you got American fans that are shitting on the Lucha Libre style of wrestling. Are you mad?
Yeah, and for the record, El Hijo del Vikingo, yeah, that man's on another level. I think these people are just jealous they can't move the way he does.
No, it's not about jealousy. It's about people that don't know pro wrestling, profess to know pro wrestling, and they found a home.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, just like we were talking off air, I bet you ain't none damn one of them going to go up to say Conan or El Guerrero or Mil Mascaras or any number of people and sit there and say that it looks like a stunt fair from or stunt show from the county fair. I bet you won't.
Conan would slap the shit out of him. No doubt.
All of them would.
No doubt. Say it to Rey
Every
Mysterio.
goddamn last one of them would. Yeah, even Rey Mysterio. Yeah, go try it. You'd probably get a lesson from Rey.
Mm-hmm. You know Juventud would mess him up.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind any number of Guerreros would twist them up. And they, you know, some of them weren't even, I wouldn't even necessarily, when they were on American TV, I wouldn't call them lucha style, right? Eddie wasn't kind of at first. He was more lucha.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he hit the WWE, you know, it was a different style. But I bet you Chavo would smack the shit out of you.
Definitely.
I bet you if you went and saw a show down in Mexico, you liable to get cut
by
somebody for talking shit like that.
There's so many luchadors out there, you know, that would just absolutely destroy a person for making that kind of a comment. And it really is an ignorant statement to make. I mean, for people to say that, it's the same as the people that get on, you know, the Bucks for their style or for the trios matches in their style. They just don't have an understanding of what they're watching. And so rather than, you know, just honestly trying, they'd rather tear it down than to actually try to understand what they're seeing.
Sure, because again, they're given an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a site that allows you the opportunity, and I know you're part of my market, I'm not going to correct you.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're putting money in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're no different than any other, you know, show on TV.
Mm-hmm.
The View, right, is a very left-leaning show.
Right.
But you know what they've done? They put some Republicans in there now. You know why? Because their market was starting to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do? Well, how do we change this? Oh, let's get some Republicans in here. Now, I don't know. I don't know if they're right-leaning Republicans or just Republicans or whatever. But you have Like, even they know, and they're smart enough to know, well, we're starting to lose an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? Well, now we got to cater to both sides. And some of these wrestling sites just haven't gotten to that point. And I'll lay you money, there will probably come a time, because wrestling fans aren't dumb, that eventually they'll change also. Again, what is Eric Bischoff going to say in 5 years? Not 5 years from now, but if AEW hits 5 years.
Right.
What are you going to say, Eric? Because at that point in time, Tony Khan will have eclipsed you as the president of a wrestling company or whatever you were. He'll have passed you in 5 years.
Well, and I'll continue to say this. All AEW has to do right now is survive. They just have to stick around. They don't have to break records. They can, and God bless them for doing it, but all they have to do is survive the next few years. Because if they stay around long enough, their niche is made, and they don't have to worry.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Impact or TNA, when TNA was around,
mm-hmm.
TNA traveled. Not a lot, but they traveled.
Right.
Their mistake was pitching a tent down in, Florida and not leaving. I saw a TNA show in Charlottesville, 45 minutes up the road, which is quite a bit of ways from their home base in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
If TNA had been so inclined and had traveled, TNA would still be selling out arenas because they were an alternative. ROH, if ROH had stayed like they were doing to begin with and were doing the arena shows and stuff like that, I don't know if I call them the big arenas, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they would have been number 2. But for whatever reason, both companies say, oh, no, we're gonna stay home.
Right.
And Lord knows, Impact and TNA should have probably died years ago. But they didn't. They're still sticking around. If that company's going to last, there's nobody can tell me AEW's not going to last.
Well, and I think that's just a testament to what it means to really survive. I mean, WCW bled $60 million in 1999. $60 million. In '98, they were extremely profitable, but in 1 year's time, $60 million, that's a huge sum of money. But they still stayed on the air for another year and a half before they got bought out. So right now, I mean, granted, we may never, I don't want to say never, we may not see it in our lifetime, a boom period, the likes of which that we saw during the Monday Night Wars. But if a company like Warner Discovery, which is absolutely gigantic, can be happy and excited about 700 to 800,000 per week, I don't know that we're measuring it properly anymore.
Yeah, but again, though,
it's about interest.
No, that number you're given
mm-hmm.
is probably only taken from the Nielsen ratings.
Right, it's the live viewership numbers.
But that doesn't mean that all the numbers are being counted.
Right.
That's just what the Nielsen's are reporting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the same goes for the WWE. Right? I'm not foolish to think that it's not working out that way for both companies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at the YouTube channels for each account, that's a good estimation as to what you can expect outside of the Nielsen measurement. Because you pointed out earlier, Warner Discovery identified that there were 5 million viewers of AEW on YouTube. So if you've got that kind of audience on YouTube, of course the streaming and the DVRs and all of that stuff has got to play a much more major role.
Well, again, you don't hear them. So, like, the only time Tony Khan's ever really discussed numbers,
mm-hmm.
like viewership numbers, I think they hit 1 million. the first time they hit 1 million. We
Yeah.
hit 1 million. Yay. And you should celebrate it. You don't hear Vince and them whining about how they went from 5 million down to 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Because what the audience, the viewer is probably not smart enough to figure out is that in today's world, there are so many different ways to watch it that we may not be privy for the total number based off of reporting agencies and everything else. If the Nielsen only track your TV and they're the only ones really reporting it, then that's what we got. But the WWE or somebody's going to know if I click on a streaming service somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably get these numbers. I'm sure AEW and Time Warner get the numbers right on down the line. But again, they're not getting into a pissing contest over it. If they're not getting into a pissing contest, I don't understand why some, wannabe fan thinks they have to get into a pissing contest. I mean, I really don't. I'm like this past week, reading comments, it's like, wow. And the bad part is, I don't know, let's say this one particular site, there might be 3,000 people, that are in it, right? Maybe 5,000, whatever. But it's like the same 7 people that are trying to rip down AEW and think it's funny. Dude, listen, if you ain't figured it out by now, you're not going to get the guy's attention. You're not getting the second guy's attention. They're not going to come over and take you to prom. Right? And you're the minority. That's what you have to realize. That's what people have to realize. The people that like to run around and talk shit, you're the minority.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of pro wrestling fans just want to watch wrestling. They're not worried about what the other people do or don't do. If they don't want to watch it, they're not watching it. But I find it funny when you sit here and tell me, oh my God, AEW sucks. And then you make a specific comment about the show that you wouldn't even know about unless you watched it.
Right. It's called hate watching. You watch it.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. Yeah.
Why? That's such a waste of energy, waste of time. And not to mention, it just makes you look just bad. It's just a bad look all around. I wanted to, before we start to wrap up, I wanted to make sure you got credit for this. Because, among the three of us, we've often talked about the changes that happen on WWE programming. And there's been an ongoing theory that you have pushed each time we've talked about it, that Vince was probably behind the scenes the whole time, even during his retirement, quote unquote, through Zoom or something else, making changes to the script. I wanted to make sure that you got credit for this because it was confirmed 2 weeks ago, and it's been further confirmed by other talents through not just Fightful but other sources, that Vince has been Zoom calling with the creative team, and that talent is confident that he's been doing this the entire time he was quote-unquote out. So, yeah, you were absolutely right. Every time we thought that, how did Triple H do that? Why would he do this? As it turns out, he probably didn't. He probably didn't. And Vince has probably said, that doesn't work for me, pal. And here we are, watching what we watch.
So I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but as a law enforcement officer for several years, well, several decades, I should say, certain things are what you call a clue, right? And the biggest clue It tells me Vince was still running the show.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's nobody who can tell me different after this. What did they tell us a month ago? About the Triple H errors beginning. Remember that?
Officially starting.
The Triple H era. All right, well, if Triple H wasn't in charge, who was in charge the last 8 months?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Take a guess. Was
Well,
it
it had to be
Khan?
Vince.
Yeah, it wasn't Khan, because never heard Khan taking part in any of that.
Right.
Stephanie hightailed it out of there.
Wisely.
No mention of Shane.
Right. Well, he's
Linda's
nursing
out
a
the
torn
picture.
quad.
Yeah, but again, though, you don't. I mean, like nobody's reported that he's backstage. Nobody's like reported that. Oh, I saw him coming out of the booking committee or whatever you want to call it, the writers' room or whatever. I mean, like, so again, then you have Triple H, but you still have the same hijinks that you had under Vince.
Mm-hmm.
But Triple H was supposed to be in charge. But it's the same. Like, it doesn't change.
Right.
And we know the guy can run things because down there in NXT, he did a phenomenal job. And when he was strictly NXT and had the right people with him, NXT was a really damn good show. Right?
Right.
But then, it's like, well, nothing's changing, but Triple H is in charge. Well, maybe they're just letting stories play out to get to WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But you know as well as I do, if you were in charge, if they say, hey, Stan, you're in charge now. Vince is gone. You make whatever decisions you make.
Mm-hmm.
There would be a lot of matches on that card. You probably would have been like, nope.
I'd have never put Shane on TV again. If I started from Mania going forward, I'd have never rehired Braun Strowman before that. But, yeah, Shane wouldn't have been on TV. We all know how I would have ended the night 2 of WrestleMania. We're not going back down that rabbit hole. But, oh, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you would have made changes almost immediately. Nothing changed. Story didn't get any better. Still a lot of dumb stuff. And again, only to find out 9 months later, hey, the Triple H era has finally begun. To the point they actually announced it on TV.
Right.
So if it's begun, did we take the training wheels off of them? No. Vince was calling the shots. Vince wanted to sell the company.
Mm-hmm.
Sold the company. Worked himself into the deal. Oh, hey, now. Yeah, Triple H. Just so you know, on paper, you're calling the shots. But pow. Behind the scenes, it's still me. Because, again, what's changed?
Well, everything we thought had changed didn't.
Nothing.
Yeah. Everything we had hints and teases of change didn't. We're right back where we were.
Mm-hmm. And what they tell us about the draft? Didn't they say we were going to get a clear and defining split?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, because we're about to combine the NXT women's tag titles with the main roster's tag titles.
Which, I mean, let's be real. NXT's women's division isn't great, much less their tag division. Plus, they literally brought up all of their made stars there.
Yes, but let's not forget the purpose of NXT.
Right.
The purpose of NXT is to give these people some experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you happen to get ones that people are, like really going after and cheering for and all that stuff, so much the better.
Right.
But if they had a women's tag team title and now they're gone, as if I was in NXT as a female, I would be like, oh, maybe it's time I leave too. Because A, I know if the main tag team champs come down here, we're not winning that.
Mm-hmm.
Two, everything's a farce at this point. And this is no longer to me, it's no longer like a training thing. You know what I'm saying? It's more like, well, we got to do something with this third show. When again, you promised us, oh, there's going to be a separation. Who used to muck up drafts all the time? Vince. Every sneaking last one of them Vince got involved with. Now, this one happened a lot faster than normal, but again, it's all screwed up, all jaked up. And here we are again. There's no doubt Vince is still calling the shots, and signs point to yes. And get your magic 8-ball out and ask it.
Well, you got your Roman Reigns consolation prize that Seth Rollins is holding now. You got the new WWE Undisputed Universal Championship belt, which is basically just a gold version of the other two belts. You got the new belt for Asuka. So it's no longer Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions. It's now the Undisputed World or Women's World Champion on SmackDown. We don't know what they're doing with Rhea Ripley's SmackDown title yet. I can only assume they're going to rebrand it.
But is she still on Raw?
Yes, she was drafted.
What's the SmackDown title?
Yes. So they knew that they had put themselves in a bit of a corner by having Bianca and Rhea Ripley get drafted to the wrong shows, basically. But they couldn't put Judgment Day on SmackDown because that would take attention away from the Bloodline.
So, I'm not. So I think Judgment Day is about as stale as you can get right now.
Well, I'm not saying that they're not. What I'm saying is more along the lines of I'm guessing their logic.
Oh,
this is what I think they're probably thinking.
I see.
So the first part of solving this problem was, okay, we'll have Asuka, who was drafted to SmackDown as well as Bianca. We'll have her beat Bianca. They've created the world title for Raw. So they're trying to, and this is what's so funny. They could have solved this problem at Mania. But instead, or hell, they could have solved it the week after Mania. Let's not forget how awful the Raw after Mania was, but I digress. They could have solved this problem long before where we are right now, before the draft, by just simply drafting them to the right places and, I don't know, sticking to their damn plan. But now they're booking themselves from underneath. They're literally trying to play catch-up. So they get a belt on Asuka, they rebrand it, they create a belt and have Seth Rollins win it. They give a new belt to Roman, so it gets rid of the SmackDown and Raw thing. They're trying their hardest to clean up a mess, and it really feels like it's two sides working against each other. Like one week we get one change, and the next week, nah, we're not doing that. We're going right back the other way.
Listen, something tells me that old Vince has probably become more maniacal than we thought, and you're not going to be able to wrest control from him.
No, he's going to. Sadly, he'll have to die before it happens.
But somebody probably should think about it,
or fire him.
Or they can.
Here's the thing. Yes, he can. He's under contract.
No, I think his contract is written that he can't be touched for like 2 years or something.
Yeah, he's got a 2-year deal, so we might have to see him tough it out until 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh. Oh my God, the damage that can be done in that time. Oh my Lord.
Ultimately, you got to figure out about the whole network thing.
Yeah.
And that may, that's a story for another day, but that may prove costly for them.
Yeah. Because they got a lot of big suitors. One that was just dropped today that they may not like the direction of what they're seeing. They may not like who's in charge. They're pretty tight when it comes to the morals.
Who's that? Which one's it? Disney?
Disney.
Oh no, Disney will let that thing. No, Disney ain't gonna care. Because I mean, you think about it, that'll probably be Disney's biggest moneymaker outside of the park itself.
Might be, because I mean it is $1 billion franchise.
Yeah.
No denying that any further.
And then with the power of Disney behind it.
Jeez, we'll get WWE films again.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Marine 12.
But
Brian,
the problem is, because I saw what Shane put Amazon Prime and Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost curious though, like if you're going to get the average fan that's going to pay for a subscription if they don't already have it.
Well, what I could see, and I think this would probably work, is Disney Plus would go up like $2 or $3,
Mm-hmm.
and their current subscriber base won't deplete. And as a matter of fact, because of how they do it, they'll end up growing. They won't do like and for $10 more you get WWE. They'll do $2 or $3. They'll do it on the sly, and then the next year they'll up it another couple bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll somehow find their way to balance it out. Because if they had to go into debt for a year, they'd go into debt and then they'd make $1 billion just to get out. Like, we're not talking about like, oh God, Logan Paul's coming back next week. Good Lord, no.
Yeah, but I'm not talking, because I don't think they would go into debt over this. What I'm saying is, like, the average person in today's world,
mm-hmm.
where money is not guaranteed, who again can watch it on cable at a much cheaper price,
Yeah,
than Disney, because there might be people that are now going to have to decide: what do I want to give up cable, give up Eden, and go, get Disney?
mm-hmm.
There are enough people out there that hate Disney enough that, well, I'm just not going to watch the WWE now.
And there's a pretty big rumor out there right now that we might actually see a streaming deal of sorts for AEW before the year is done.
How we get on AEW? You got AEW on the brain. You're just as bad as them WWE fans.
I am. I'm one of those tribalist fans.
Yeah, that's right. Can't wait till Wednesday.
Yeah, you got a big week, man. You're going to be real busy Wednesday, taking in everything from Dynamite to Rampage, and then we got Collision on Saturday. I mean,
oh, did I forget to mention Awesome Con Saturday?
Damn.
Which, again, free tickets.
Really? Not bad. Nicely played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe by next time I'll have joined this little group.
You gonna take residence up in DC? I mean, good Lord, man.
Yeah. I'm a traveler of both time and space.
Okay. Well, I reckon that's going to do it for us this week.
Yeah.
We've run the gamut, I believe.
Hey, next week when Rob gets back, let's talk that Magnum PA show.
Yes. Dark Side of the Ring is back. We've got 2 episodes already in, and we got this week, I don't even know what they're covering this week. I'll have to look it back up. But we got a lot to cover in those 2 episodes alone. So, yeah, next week we will talk about...
Just the Magnum PA one.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of interesting things in there.
Yeah, they really were. And the interesting parts of what we long suspected was the case. A lot of confirmation. So yeah, definitely excited
Yeah.
dive into that.
Yeah, I'm sure Rob would want to be part of it too. So
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, you can catch up with Rob on Twitter at Rob Hefner C2C. Catch up with Brian at Vlad Dragul C2C. That's VLADDRAGOOL C2C. And I'm at Stan Grubb. The show is at C2C Radio Show and C2CRadioshow.com. Enjoy your big week of wrestling. Be sure to send all hate mail to Brian for him going and me not. I really appreciate that.
And send it, don't send it, suck it. That's all I know.
We'll see you next week. Have a great night, everybody.
That's funny. All right, I'm off to bed.